Hello everyone and welcome back to more Umineko When They Cry. So, one thing to note about this episode, it probably looks a lot different to the previous two. That is because I have applied the PS3 patch, which updates the graphics and adds voice acting. I wasn't aware this patch existed for the previous two episodes, so thank you to the people in the comments that did mention it. But obviously, I'm playing this blind, so I kind of need like a kick to find this kind of stuff. So now we have voice acting. I do actually prefer some of the older sprites to the newer ones, but I definitely think that Maria's sprite is vastly improved. She's a lot cuter now, and I'm looking forward to seeing how good the voice acting was, because a lot of you said it's really awesome. So let's go ahead and continue.
そうですか? 私的には全然似てないつもりなんですけど。つうか、親には似たくないです。尊敬してないんで。
ほら、そんなこと言っちゃダメよ。それにしても、親に似たくないって言ってる人が多いわね。うちの一族は。
あ、それ俺。
I also kind of prefer Battler's sprite. Though this one is quite nice, but I don't know. I think I preferred his hair in the other version.
バカ言え。お前こそ俺に似るんじゃねえ。お前の鼻が似ててムカつくんだよ。
何言ってんのよ。呆れるくらいそっくりよ。あなたもお父様もね。
おいおい、そりゃねえだろ。
It's just me that thinks that their noses don't really look anything alike.
俺のどこが親父に似てるってんだ？
傲慢で偉そうなところとかそっくりよ。あんたと兄さんは特にお父様の血が強いわね。ねえローザ？
まったく。クラウス兄さんもルドルフ兄さんも信じられないくらいお父様にそっくり。
Okay, so yeah, another one of the sprites I actually preferred in the older version, or in the PC Steam, vanilla version we'll call it, is I actually prefer Rosa's sprite. I think she looked a lot prettier in the Steam version than in these graphics.
おいおい、参ったな。なんで俺だけ女どもに集中放火なんだ？秀吉兄さん、助けてくださいよ。
いやいや、ルドルフ君はいっつも女性にモテてるな。羨ましいで。
相変わらずモテモテでお羨ましいことです。それでは皆様、お船の方へお乗りくださいませ。さあさあ、マリアさん、一緒にお船に乗りましょうね。一緒に
お船に乗る。
Ah, her voice is super cute. Oh, I love her.
みんなも一緒に乗る。
おや、もう今度は怖くないぜ。波で揺れるのは慣れてるしな。あのオンボロ漁船の場合、揺れて怖いってよりエンジンがぶっ壊れて漂流するんじゃねえかって方が怖いぜ。
Somehow I think he's still gonna have some sort of struggle.
そうだ、バトラ君、言うのを忘れてた。あの漁船はだいぶ老朽化してたんで、数年前に引退したんだよ。
Uh-oh.
今は他の船が島まで運んでくれるんだ。
ああ、そっか。バトラは新しい船が初めてなんだな。快適だぜ。すっげえ速いんだ。
Oh, I don't think he's gonna like that.
何しろとんでもないスピードが出るんだからさ。
ほう。ってことは、船旅の時間がさらに短縮されたわけか。
Yeah, but it's also gonna mean a lot more shaking.
そりゃ素晴らしい。何しろ飛行機よりマシとはいえ、沈没の危険にさらされる時間が少しでも短くなるってんだから、こりゃ極めて素晴らしいぜ。
バトラはまた落ちる。
そりゃ飛行機の時だけさ。もう大丈夫だぜ。
何しろ 船長自慢の改造高速艇らしいぜ。だいぶいじってるらしく、プロペラは高性能のが4機もついてて、最高速度は40ノットを超えるとかなんとか自慢してたな。いつも自慢されるんで覚えちまったぜ。
僕も毎年聞かされるんで覚えちゃったよ。
I see, yeah. Battler's obviously not used to it because it's been a long time since he last came to one of these meetings.
船長は昔外国の漁船と速度比べをして負けて以来、スピード改造に取りつかれちゃったんだってさ。その時の相手は漁船なのに30ノット以上も出せたんだってね。
その雪辱の念が結実して、スカッと爽快な超高速改造艇の誕生となったわけさ。バトラーもきっと気に入るぜ。
Super high speed modded boat? My first thought was that this would be much better than some beat up boat that might sink at any moment, but for some reason I got this feeling of foreboding. Probably just overthinking it. No, I think it's definitely something to worry about, Battler.
おいバトラー、島までは泳いで行った方がいいんじゃねえか。
One thing I will say about this patch is that the backgrounds look amazing. I'm not a big fan of the whole blurry thing that the originals had. It's the same with Higurashi. I just don't like that kind of thing.
バトラ君、柵からあんまり身を乗り出しちゃダメだよ。落ちちゃう。
I bet he's incredibly seasick.
チェックしろー。さっきからみんながニヤニヤ笑ってたのはこれだったのか。
So this is the super high-speed boat that the captain started modding. Oh yes, that piece of junk fishing boat from 6 years ago doesn't hold a candle to this guy. There's no joy in this travel for him.
落ちる落ちる落ちる。落ちたら海じゃないかよ。溺れちまうぞ。パラシュートなんじゃねえ。浮き輪どこだ。ライフジャケットをくれ。
なんだよバトラー、おめえそれ何の真似だよ。
ジェシカちゃんもマリアちゃんもいじめちゃ悪いって。
At least Jessica's getting a bit of fun at Battle's expense.
バトラ君も怖いなら甲板に出なきゃいいのに。船内ならもう少し怖くないと思うけどな。
へへ、そいつはサンキューだぜ兄貴。記念事故の犠牲者はいつも船内なんだ。
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's probably comforted by the fact that if the boat sinks, he won't be inside it.
生存者を抱いて事故時は甲板なんだぜ。だから俺はここにいる。
So he doesn't have to stay, like, he doesn't have to stare out, he could just kind of, I don't know, stare at his feet or something.
でも揺れる。落ちる。
マリア、よしなさいったら。船長さん、速度を落とすように言ってきてあげるわ。
ローダーはサリホー。海の上でも安全運転、徐行運転、指差し確認。
Our good guy Aunt Rosa, making sure that Battler doesn't feel uncomfortable.
ダメよローザ。青年には試練も必要なんだからねえバトラ君、これくらいへっちゃらで克服できちゃうわよね。じゃないとおばさんとエジプトに行けないわよ。
エヴァ
Wow, that was a long row. Poor battler.
いや、ひっくり返して考えるんだ。敵の狙いは何だ。俺をこうして怖がらせることか。そいつが狙いなら甘いぜ。ビビってなんかやるのか。でもダメ。
So, after I made a huge fool of myself for a while, Aunt Rosa had a talk with the boat captain and he slowed down to a more manageable speed for me.
これくらいならなんとか。さっきのは生きた心地がしなかったぜ。
Apparently, the max speed I can tolerate is extremely slow. Aw, they should have gone on a barge. But that just now was completely insane. The whole boat was shaking, sliding and leaping on the ocean surface. It felt like I was riding on the back of a flying fish. Jessica was still guffawing at me as I leaned against the railing, tired and disheartened.
さっきは力比べで負けたけどよ、もっと重要な部分で負けてなかったことが分かって私は嬉しいぜ。
Yeah, I suppose at least Jessica hasn't managed to embarrass herself quite so thoroughly.
いやしかし
くっそー。好きなだけ笑えよ。いつか弱点を見つけ返しててめえの胸揉みつぶしてやるぜ。
Why is he such a pervert for Jessica's boobs?
見つけられたら考えてやるぜ。ほう、バトラヘロヘロ。
ああ、バトラーヒロヒロだ。海も空もごめんだぜ。俺は陸の上で死にたいさ。
Maria was patting my back, so I patted her head in return. Her expression was blank, as usual, but I realised that she wanted to console me. I thought she was taking a lot of disdain towards him, but I guess this is her affection face.
バトラ君、船長が罪滅ぼしにってドリンクをサービスしてくれたよ。飲んで一服しないかい？落ち着くよ。
Georgianiki and Kumasawa-ba-chan brought us all ice-cold cans of soft drinks covered with beads of water. Judging from Kumasawa-san's big grin, our parents inside the boat were probably all rolling around laughing at my moment of pure terror. Damn it, I'm so embarrassed I can't bear to face any of them. If I didn't change the subject somehow, I had the feeling I'd be the butt of everyone's jokes for the whole trip, so I tried to think of something harmless to talk about. This is like my family, like my brothers, they still bring up like embarrassing stuff that happened to me when I was like 5 and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, it's like I can't change it now. I'm tired of hearing about it every year. So I think even if he changes the subject, he'll probably be dealing with that for a very long time.
ああ、ジェシカ。クラウスおじさんと夏日おばさんは元気なのかよ。
親父とおふくろ？残念ながら元気だぜ。
Yeah, we haven't actually met Kraus yet.
二言目には勉強しろ勉強しろってうるせえけどよ。秀吉おじさんとかルドルフおじさんとかそういうこと言わなそうだから羨ましいぜ。
I actually really like Jessica's accent. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of cute.
とんでもない。僕も受験を控えてた頃はいっつも受験受験って言われてたよ。うるさくも思ったけど今は感謝してるよ。
やっぱりジョージ兄貴は人間ができてるな。ちなみにうちは絶賛放任中だからな。なんにも言われないぜ。まあ言われたって聞かねえけどな。
バトラさんはまだご実家には戻られておられないのですか？
うん。まあちょくちょく戻るようには。まだ服とかだいぶ前の家に残してるんで。
おお、バトラ、お家が2つある？
まあな。
どうして？ どうしてお家が2つ?
Oh, this face is so cute. Oh, I love her. I bet she's going to be the super creepy one, though. The cute ones are always creepy. Only Maria, who couldn't really grasp the situation, voiced this naive question. However, the others just shot nervous glances at me, choosing not to respond even though they knew the answer.
Maya! ほら、船着き場が見えてきたぜ。ほら、あれ。見えるか？船着き場見えた！船着き場見えた！
Apparently, Jessica was trying to be nice by changing the subject. Ah well. I'd rather not talk about it if I can help it, but it's uncomfortable to have it treated like some kind of weird taboo. I don't mind it that much myself anymore. I may be a member of the Ushiromiya family, but the truth is that for these last 6 years I've been living with my grandparents on my late mother's side, and I've even been using her family name. Oh, that's a bad choice. When those grandparents passed away one after the other, I basically had no choice but to go back and live with the old bastard. Don't get me wrong. I didn't just run away from home or anything like that. The only one at fault here is my dad. I don't really blame Kirie-san. Being able to hold that old bastard's reins and ride him out is no mean feat. Still, the way that old bastard betrayed my mom. Well, unfortunately, I still haven't fully gotten over that. Oh, okay, so I'm assuming his dad had an affair and that's why their relationship isn't so great. Though, considering, it seems like, to me, it seems like they get along pretty well. I don't know.
もうすぐ着くね。
Georgianiki cleared his throat, trying to change the subject.
失礼しました。年寄りが余計なことを言ってしまったようで、お気に障りましたら。
気にもしてないし触ってもないぜ。気にすんなよ、熊沢のばあちゃん。
Kumasawa-san seemed to regret speaking out of turn. But I was more concerned about being worried over for something like that, so I stood up and passed off lightly. After that, I had a sip of my drink and headed over to Maria and Jessica, who were gazing at the silhouette of the island. Okay, for some reason, sometimes when I click, the voice acting doesn't play.
どれどれ。おお、見えてきたな。6年ぶりでも記憶と寸分変わらない島影だぜ。
The small island silhouette in front of us had gotten pretty close. This island's name is Rokkenjima. It's a small island about 10 kilometers across, located in the Izo archipelago. Since they call this archipelago the Izu 7, lots of people think there are only 7 islands, but that's not true. There's actually several more, and Rokkenjima is one of the minor islands that don't get counted. Even if that weren't the case, I doubt you'd find many people who knew about this island. Only people connected to the Ushiromiya family ever go there. In other words, outsiders and tourists never have any reason to care about it. So you'll never find this island's name in a travel brochure. After all of Rokkenjima is an estate possessed by the Ushiromiya head family. Only the Ushiromiya family live there, and only people connected to the Ushiromiya family come and go to and from there. There's nothing there except a harbour and a mansion. The vast majority of the island is still just uncultivated forest. Such a waste, when it could be made into a nice golf course or something. I don't know, I kind of like the natural thing they have going on. It's difficult to find somewhere that's untouched. However, when you realise that the entire coastline is a private beach, it starts to sound pretty magnificent. You've probably guessed by now, but to put it simply, well, the Ushiromiya family is just rolling in dough. The head family apparently possesses a vast fortune, and Dad and the others who make up the branch families have built up plenty of wealth for themselves, finding success in their respective businesses. So if they are already successful and have money, then why is the fortune that the head owns such a big deal? I've been living a commoner's life at my grandparents' home these 6 years, so I'd completely forgotten. But the old bastard's house really is elegant, and everything about it is tuned to match the snobbish taste of the annoyingly rich. Come to think of it, I guess that makes Georgia, Nikki, Jessica, Maria and me wealthy, high-class gentlemen and ladies. It's nice to me that they all kind of maintain a normal childhood-like personality. Like, none of them act particularly spoiled, if you get what I'm saying. Needless to say, none of us think of ourselves that way at all. I don't see myself as being rich, and George Aniki, who takes self-discipline very seriously, doesn't let himself get too comfortable. Jessica is always complaining that she'd rather move to the city than be rich. And Maria is still a kid who isn't even interested in money at all. Does that attitude really make us any less snobbish? From the perspective of people in poverty who can't pay the bills, we really have been blessed with a lot. This isn't the place to explain any further, so I won't. Anyway, it's the same as not being able to choose the parents you're born from. I didn't ask to be born into a rich family, and I don't think it's really something to be envied. It can be pretty trying when people are prejudiced against you just because you're rich and refuse to judge you by your merits. As I pondered these sentimental thoughts, Maria started shouting and leaned over the railing.
Oh, no.
どうしたんだよ、マリア。何か落としちゃったのか？
Maria kept yelling, "Gone, gone." At first it sounded as though she had dropped something, but while she shouted, she also pointed out over the ocean.
どうしたの？何がないんだい？僕も探してあげるよ。何？
If she'd dropped something, she would probably have looked down at the floor, but Maria was pointing out over the ocean. One would assume by that gesture that she had spotted something, but she kept saying that something wasn't there. Strange. However, since my last memories of this place came from 6 years ago, I was able to spot it before Aniki, who comes here every year.
確かさ、この辺の小さい岩の上に鳥居みたいなのがなかったっけ？そうだ、確かにあったぜ。島に近づいてくると最初に迎えてくれる目印みたいなもんだったからよく覚えてるぜ。
6年ぶりなのによく覚えてるもんだぜ。
あったね。僕も思い出したよ。鎮守の社と鳥居みたいなものがそういえばないね。去年は確かにあったと思う。
It really seems to bother Maria. I wonder why.
大方、波か何かでさらわれちまったんだろう。小さい岩だったしな。だいぶ風化で脆くなってたんだろうさ。
私もそうだと思ってるんだけどよ。なくなっちゃったのはこの夏のことなんだよ。なんでもよ。
ある晩に大きな稲妻が落ちてお社を砕いてしまったんだ。鎮守様に落雷があるまでこれが不吉の兆しに違いない。漁民たちはささやいておりますね。
Wow, that's very foreboding. I hope that doesn't imply anything.
くわばらくわばら。
Kumasawa-san smiled impishly as if teasing us, rubbing her hands together while intoning a Japanese phrase meant to ward off lightning. However, Maria apparently took this seriously, and stared fixedly over the ocean to where the crag housing the shrine god was supposed to be.
Yose yo, Kumasawa-san. Maria はそういう冗談の通じない年頃なんだからさ。
大丈夫だよ、マリアちゃん。偶然だよ。何も怖いことなんか起きないよ。
I don't entirely trust that statement, George, I'm afraid. George Aniki put a hand on Maria's shoulder to calm her down, but Maria's sharp-eyed expression didn't waver. Okay, this is what I meant. I knew she was going to be creepy. Oh, she's cute, but creepy. Maria muttered that word over and over. Apparently repeating a single word over and over is a habit that Maria's had for a long time. However, since the word she was saying was literally an ill omen, it was a bit creepy. I tapped Maria's other shoulder. Maria whipped her head around, stared into my face, and spoke unblinkingly.
不吉来る。
来るってどこからさ
I answered light-heartedly, trying to break the tension in the air. At that moment, Maria held up a finger, raised her arm high, and pointed up to the heavens. When I looked up, I saw that the sky was still just as cloudy, but it had grown a great deal more leaden than it had been that morning. That's right, they were saying that a typhoon was approaching. We had planned to spend one night on the island, but if this storm doesn't pass quickly, I won't be able to make it to school on Monday. Well, I guess it makes for a pretty good excuse to be absent. I don't know, am I the only one that's pretty terrified at the prospect of a typhoon? I don't know, it's because we don't really get them in the UK. She apparently sensed some kind of misfortune in this cloudy sky. She's been muttering that non-stop for a while now. Girls at Maria's age tend to be very impressionable. She's just about the age that many girls start to get excited about sixth senses and whether they have any psychic potential and stuff. For all we know, this might be due to her childish, sensitive nature.
大丈夫だよ、マリアちゃん。天気は今夜くらいには崩れるかもしれないけど、明日には良くなって綺麗な青空になってるよ。
綺麗な青空。
そう、明日になれば綺麗な青空になるよ。止まない雨はないし、晴れない雲だってない。
止まない雨、晴れない雲。
確かに台風が近づいてるけどよ、すぐに過ぎちまうって。大丈夫さ、マリア。
Okay, she seems to be getting worse. Maria started yelling ooh ooh. It looked as though she was having a tantrum because no one could understand what she was trying to say. What in the world is Maria trying so desperately to warn us about? Unable to understand her, we couldn't help but feel a vague sense of misfortune. I've heard that everyone can feel the supernatural, but that it weakens as you age. That might mean that Maria, the youngest one of us all, still possessed some kind of sense that the rest of us had lost. I wonder if that sense is sending her a warning. At that moment, Kumasawa-san quietly opened her mouth.
なんでロッケン島はその昔
Kumasawa, I think you need to stop with the cryptic stories because Maria's getting really upset.
熊沢さん、その話はなしにしようぜ。
Just as Kumasawa-san was about to tell some kind of story, Jessica sharply interrupted her. Jessica's tone was extremely firm for her. I wanted to push her further, just out of simple curiosity. But judging by the look on Jessica's face, whatever Kumasawa-bachan was likely to say would probably make Maria even more uneasy. If I did try to press her for the story, the odds were pretty good that it wouldn't be anything bright and cheery.
それは申し訳ございませんね。ここの風は年寄りには応えますんで、ちょっと失礼させていただきます。
Gossipers have no reason to hang around after they've been told to stop chatting. When Kumasawa-san finally realized that she'd overstepped her bounds, she went back inside the boat. After she left, Uncle Hideyoshi showed up in her place. Since he'd arrived mid-conversation, he completely failed to notice the complicated atmosphere that was hung about the scene. So he refreshingly and unwittingly swept that atmosphere aside. So in the end, it was his lack of tact that brightened the mood.
もう到着だそうやないか。おう、 もうちょいやの。今日はのんびりスピードだから時間がかかってもうたわ。誰のせいやねん。
I feel really sorry for Battler, don't pick on him.
うわ、秀吉おじさんもう勘弁してくださいよ。
もっと言ってやってください。たく、バトラのせいで時間かかりすぎだぜ。
Maria probably thought that everyone was refusing to listen to her. She hung her head, wearing a fretful expression. As she did, Georgianiki crouched down to meet her eyes and spoke to her kindly.
マリアちゃん、何も怖くないよ。だって僕たちが一緒だもの。一緒だと何も怖くないんだよ。言ってごらん。
一緒だと何も怖くない。
うん、一緒だと何も怖くない。
そうさ、ジョージの兄貴の言う通りだぜ。俺たちが一緒にいるといつだってなんだって絶対に怖くねえんだな、ジェシカ。
ああ、間違いないぜ。ジョージ兄さんの言うことはいつも本当だよ、マリア。
ジョージお兄ちゃんはいつも本当。
うん、僕は嘘をつかないよ。だから信じて。みんなと一緒にいれば何も怖くないんだよ。
信じる。みんなと一緒にいれば怖くない。怖くない。
Okay, guys, I think this is going to be a good place to end the episode whilst we're kind of like outside of the voice acting side of things. I actually really like this patch, and I'm glad I kind of got into it early before it became too much of an issue. I actually had to skip to get to this point again because the saves wouldn't work with the newer version. But so far, the voice acting is pretty superb, if you ask me. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. If you are, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. And until next time, guys, goodbye!